Well, I got to admit, it could not happen, soon enough. It was about time that Howard Stern lost his show for being completely unfunny and completely betraying everything that he stood for. Back when Howard Stern was getting started, he was all about fighting the man, fighting the man, fighting the oligarchy, as AOC would put it, who, by the way, is worth over $20 million, who has become part of the oligarchy. But that's what he did, and then that's how he got his fame. He was very, very outside of the mainstream, which actually put him into the mainstream because he was bucking the system at every turn. And what he was doing is he was pissing off all the big people, which all of us found was hilarious. He was fighting the higher ups at NBC, and he was just going after everybody, and we love that about Howard Stern. Well, Howard Stern, as a lot of, for some reason, these people in the entertainment industry, as they get older, they get stupid. And Howard Stern was one of the ones that got stupid. And in return, he got Stephen Colbert. Now, what do I mean by Stephen Colbert? Well, Stephen Colbert, who had his late night show, which started off actually relatively well. It was doing good. But once he got a little comfortable, what did Stephen Colbert do? Well, he decided to pick a side and piss off half the country, which in turn causes you to lose half of your viewership, which in turn causes you to lose half of your sponsors, which in turn causes you to lose half of your money. Now, this is a brilliant strategy on the part of liberals, as far as I'm concerned, in the entertainment industry. Let's piss off half of America so we can lose half of our money, half of our viewership, half of our sponsors, and then we'll take the money loss, but it's not a big deal. We don't care that we're losing money. It's okay because I'm Stephen Colbert. So therefore, it doesn't matter. Well, it mattered to the higher ups. When you're losing $40 million a year, chances are you're not going to have your job very long. Well, Howard Stern, I guess watching Stephen Colbert go down in flames, I guess that just wasn't good enough for him. So what does he do is he, obviously goes down the same road. And he's been heading down this road for a few years now. For some reason, all these people in Hollywood have this incredible hatred of Donald Trump, and yet they could not tell you why they hated Donald Trump. Do they hate him because he lowers their taxes? That wouldn't make any sense. Do they hate him because he loves America and wants our borders sovereign? Well, that wouldn't make any sense either. Do they hate him because he's trying to clean up crime and clean up our cities? Well, that wouldn't make any sense either. It absolutely wouldn't. So exactly why do the liberals hate Donald Trump? They don't know. They truly don't know. They have their talking points. Well, he's a king. He's a dictator, which he's none of the above, obviously. That's just liberal talking points. But when it comes down to it, they truly don't know why they hate him. Well, he's a racist, and yet he has employed more black people than any president before him. And yet he's a racist. And he's gave millions of dollars to black college funds. Wow, boy, that sounds pretty racist to me. Even though Joe Biden is the one making all the racist remarks, somehow Donald Trump was the racist. And liberals really don't know why they hate him. They don't know. They just know that they hate him because they've been indoctrinated to say that they hate him. But they can't figure it out why. Well, Howard Stern, being the idiot that he is, has this very successful show, gets picked up by Sirius. They pay him a fortune, and all he has to do is stay in his lane. Do what made you famous. Do what got you to this point. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. But what does he do? Well, he decides to take a side. And that is the one thing you do not do in that world. Because as soon as you do, look at all the movies that have flopped. Because Disney chose a side. The directors, the producers from Marvel and Disney, they chose a side. And they decided to make all these woke movies that nobody wanted to see. Nobody wanted to see a couple of gay guys in Buzz Lightyear kissing each other. Nobody wanted to see that. And they could have made the movie without that, and it would not have changed the story one iota. That added absolutely nothing to the story except getting across their liberal point, forcing their agenda down your throat, making sure that you understand the message is out there and it is strong. And in return, it lost millions of dollars. Brilliant strategy. So a while back, I did a video on this a while back, but a while back, Howard Stern comes out being the genius that he is and decides that he wants to do this.
I hate the guy. I hate the people who vote for him. I think they're stupid. I do. I'll be honest with you.
And that is astounding to me. Now, what Howard Stern, what he gained from that was his viewership going from millions of people a day, millions, to 125,000 a day. I mean, how stupid can you be? If my entire livelihood, my job, and what I was known for was making people laugh and entertaining you, if you're on the right, if you're on the left, whatever your gender is, whatever your race is, don't care. If that was my job, I would continue down that lane. But the problem is when these people, they get so famous and they get so big that they think their opinion matters. And it doesn't. It does not matter. Howard Stern convinced not one person to vote for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. Not one. So why say something so ignorant that's going to do nothing but damage your career? Because he could have quit this show years ago and gone down as one of the greats. Now, he's just another liberal clown. He's the new Stephen King. You know, Stephen King, and I've said this before, he's the old grumpy dude on X. That's what everybody calls him on X now. Or Mark Hamilton, is that his name? The guy who played Star Wars, Mark Hamill, I'm sorry, played Luke Skywalker. He's the psycho guy on X now. And that's how we know him. That's how people refer to Stephen King on X, the old crazy guy on X, because that's what he's become, because he chose a side. And because he chose a side, and let me tell you, I've read countless Stephen King books, but I don't read them anymore. Now, you might say, well, that's kind of shallow, that's, your loss for not doing it. No, because I can't support somebody who supports what he supports. I can't support open borders. I can't support, mutilating children, telling little boys that they need to be little girls. I simply can't support that. And by me buying Stephen King books, that means I support what he supports, and I do not. And I think that is absolutely horrible because I love Steve. Well, I love a lot of his work. Some of it's not, it's not all great, but everything can't be all great. But, I do like a lot of his movies. I've watched a ton of his movies in the past. I've read a ton of his books, but I don't do it anymore because that's what these people do. They get some fame, they get some notoriety, they open their mouth, and they piss off half of the people who made them famous, who made them rich. Now, it could be that Howard Stern, he doesn't need money. He'll never have to work another day in his life after the insane deal he signed with Sirius. But what was funny is I think Howard Stern had started hearing whispers that he was going to get canned by Sirius because he started, when my contract is up, I'm not going to renew. Then all of a sudden, boy, that flipped quick because he thought he was going to get some historic landmark deal from Sirius. Well, he did. There's the door. See ya. That was the landmark deal he got. Because it's the same thing. Why are we going to pay you $500 million when you're not bringing in half that amount of money? I would, when I got Sirius, I never listened to Howard Stern. Never. I just listened to the news. I never listened to Howard Stern because I don't believe what he believes. Now, that's fine. A lot of people do believe what he believes, and therefore they listen to him and they revel in the idiotic things that he says. I, however, do not. But the problem is I am one of millions that turned him off when he turned into a liberal clown. All you got to do, stay with the formula that made you famous. Stay in your lane and everything's good. But instead, these weirdos, these idiots, I don't know at what point in his life he became brainwashed. The same as Stephen Colbert. I don't know who indoctrinated this clown to where he decided that I was going to spend all my time on my show doing nothing but attacking Trump. Well, guess what? When Trump won the election, all of a sudden that wasn't popular anymore. When the Democrats were in charge, it was popular to bash Trump. Then Trump come in and put an ass whipping on everything that was the Democrat Party. Then all of a sudden it wasn't popular. So what do? They double down on their stupidity. And then they get Stephen Colbert, just like Howard Stern did. So if you are one of these people that have, your money, your fame, and all this, and everything for you is going great in your life, maybe you shouldn't be an idiot and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take a stand and I'm going to piss off half the people in the country because this is going to do wonders for my career. But before you do that, just go back and look. Look at Rosie O'Donnell. She's completely insane. Look at Stephen Colbert. Look at Howard Stern. Look what's getting ready to happen to Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel. They're going to get canned. Their shows are losing a fortune. And the only one that might survive is Jimmy Fallon. And because he did the smart thing and he had Greg Gutfeld on his show to show that I'm not so stupid that I will not reach across the aisle and invite my enemy onto my show. Even though they're not enemies, you know what I mean. People from the left, people from the right. So at least Jimmy Fallon's making an effort to do the right thing, where the others aren't. They're just staying down crazy liberal lane, and they're all going to lose their jobs. And they're all going to be gone. And I got to be honest, it can't happen fast enough.